Howdy y'all, this is Steven and I am the founder of DuFrane Watches, and I wanted to start, as something I've talked about in the past, a video series, and I'm going to call this thing the DuFrane Discussion. So this is episode 1, where I wanted to introduce kind of the idea behind this and share a couple of just kind of foundational things about what made me start the watch brand DuFrane, and you know, what models that are out right now, and some things that are coming, and then also just in general where I'd like to kind of take this discussion, and love to hear some feedback from y'all. Please comment below, and you know, let's get into it. So I started DuFrane back in 2016. I've been a collector for a long time, and I even with a buddy took a couple of trips to Switzerland just to see, you know, and tour some of the facilities and see what regions the kind of the bulk of the Swiss watchmaking industry is based in. Geneva and you know, a couple other areas, but you know, I even had a custom piece made by a local, call it an independent brand called Oxen Jr. And you know, that experience itself really spawned in me the desire to figure out a way to really play a bigger part of the watch space and industry. And so, you know, it was a couple years after that I actually decided to go ahead and start my own watch brand. I had been keeping a little notebook with I'd kind of tinker and draw around different ideas, different case things that, you know, designs I liked in certain watches, and you know, different dial ideas, different ways of incorporating some interesting things about the city Austin that I'm in. And you know, so I already had kind of the, you know, some of the information together, but it wasn't until 2016, quite a few years after, like I said, I did some touring and so forth, that I decided to start the brand. And the culmination of that is really around the desire to share Austin with the world, and a lot of people certainly know about Austin and come to Austin or have visited Austin or want to. And you know, I moved here back 20 some years, 22, 23 years ago, and really love this town. And I wanted to incorporate some things about Austin into a watch brand and maintain a lot of the same, you know, very high quality aspects of the Swiss industry that I got to see, and the watches I collect, into a, you know, smaller micro brand, if you will. And so while I wanted to have a few key characteristics, the marketing or the branding behind the DuFrane is actually, you know, rooted in this connection to Austin. So every piece is named after either an Austin historical figure or some sort of landmark around the area. And you know, I try to incorporate either some color tones or some design characteristics or things like that that tie into the you know, that particular model or design. So when I was, you know, really coming up with the design ideas, I had two, you know, major pieces in mind. One would be an aviation piece called the Bergstrom, and the second was the initial diver piece called the Barton Springs. And I actually have something that I'll share with everybody here in just a few around some evolutions and changes that are coming in terms of the Barton Spring diver piece itself. So for those that missed the initial launch, something new is coming. So then, you know, when I started to, you know, really formulate the idea behind the design of the piece, it dawned on me, you know, obviously I'm, or maybe it's not so obvious, but I'm not a watch designer. I have no nor formal training or knowledge in both design and or watchmaking itself. So all of this is very self-taught, and I've learned a lot along the way. But you know, I had some fundamental ideas that I wanted to, you know, put into the watches. And so, you know, but again, there was a gap in me understanding like how I could actually go about the manufacturing process. So part of my journey was really around learning that side of it and learning the different partners that could be leveraged to go through that manufacturing process. And that in itself was a lot of, you know, a lot of trial and error and a lot of learnings. And I found some fantastic partners that I've worked with for years and have a lot of trust in. But all of the pieces are designed by me. I then take the basic designs and make some CAD renderings with another partner, or the or the case manufacturers themselves, and then come up with the design idea on the dial, and again the characteristics around Austin that I'm incorporating into that. But all of that manufacturing process then, those parts and components are made custom and specific to the design. They're not off the shelf or anything like that. I use only Swiss mechanical movements. All of those parts and pieces are actually then shipped to me here in the workshop. And I'm sitting in my workshop now, and you can kind of see in the background there the actual bench. And I've got several pieces on there right now that I'm building. But all the pieces are assembled here in Austin, here in my workshop. I time them, I test them, and then if there's ever warranty items or things like that, then I actually take care of them here in the shop as well. So while I do have a facility here, it's actually not a public visible or public, it's not meant for touring or anything like that. But I certainly meet local people here all the time around town at different areas to see the watches in person, because obviously when you hold a DuFrane, it's far different, in my opinion, a lot better than trying to see it on just the website or social media. But in any event, I launched with the Bergstrom, the pilot piece, and then about a year or so later, I launched with the Barton Springs, the diver piece. And the reason there was a big gap is that the original design of the Barton Springs wasn't exactly what I was really trying to get at. And so I took a pause and launched the Bergstrom first, and then came back to the drawing board and redesigned the Barton Springs. And that was a piece that launched, like I said, about a year later. And it was a quite successful launch, and those pieces sold out. But I do want to share that it is coming back. There's some different, I guess, some maybe changes or upgrades to the design. But I'm pretty excited about the launch that's going to come up a little bit later this year, call it mid part of the year, where I'll fully release it, and excited to share the different changes that are taking place with it. But I guess in terms of the brand itself, again, tying in the ideas around Austin and my love of watches and this town, the background of me being kind of this watch collector and silly fanatic ever since I was a kid, the reason that it's named DuFrane is it's actually my mother's maiden name, and I wanted to provide an homage to her and the support she gave as just a kid. Who had just this weird, I grew up in the middle of the country, and I had this weird infatuation with watches. But, I thought it was a nice homage to her, and the name just kind of stuck with me, that's a great name for a watch brand. And another, I guess, just interesting piece about me is that I actually wear my watch on my right hand, and that's really a nod to my dad. He's left-handed, but he always wore his watch on his right hand. So I just assumed growing up that that's the hand that you wear it on. So whether or not that's the proper thing to do is irrelevant. I mean, people put ice in wine as well. If that's what they like, that's what they like. So what I want to do now is just kind of talk about a little bit of the idea behind the DuFrane discussion. I'm going to have different guests on. I'm going to have different focus ideas that bring to the table, not necessarily only DuFrane. I'll do some DuFrane trainings or tutorials, if you will, around how to change a strap or how to remove links out of a bracelet, or some of the features around the Travis as example, the DLC coding and things like that. So I'll go into some of those details, but this is also going to be a very conversational and open discussion around just watches in general, other things that are really interesting to me, and again, based on comments that y'all give, I'd love to hear what you'd like to see or hear as well. So I think the last thing that I'll kind of leave you with in this first episode is just a glimpse into the next release of the Barton Springs that's coming up. There's quite a bit going on this year. I've got about 3 new pieces in the design phase right now, as well as some changes to the Waterloo, which I think will be exciting as well. So without further ado, I guess I'll share a little bit about the new Barton Spring that's going to be coming up, and it's so cleverly called the Barton Springs 2. So forgive the the lack of fanfare around the expanded name, or forgive the lack of of clever ideas around the naming of it, but just simply the Barton Springs 2. But this is one of the examples of the updates. This is going to be a gilt dial. I'll have date and no date versions. These are 42 millimeter pieces. I've made them with these really awesome FMK rubber straps, as well as these really cool kind of nylon pass-through straps that are going to be super comfortable, as well as very fitting. But purple colorway, a matte black with a gilt dial, and then a very cool kind of a gray sandy textured dial. And so we'll get the camera to adjust, and you can kind of see the different variations, the different colors. Tried to pull a little bit of the orange second hands, the pop with the FMK orange strap. So I'm excited about these. They're coming probably, like I said, the June, July time frame. I'm absolutely going to have them available for the wind-up show that I'll be attending up in Chicago. So if you are in that area, I can't wait to see y'all again. And the next couple episodes, I'll again kind of be introducing some other people that are part of the DuFrane brand, and I look forward to it. So again, let me know what you think. Drop a comment below, and thank you so much, and I really appreciate your support. Thanks, y'all.